After 14 years of marriage, my wife said she'd found her true love. She said he had nothing, and that money didn't matter. I nodded, smiled, and made one quiet decision that changed everything. But before I begin, please like and subscribe to the channel. And we'd love to hear which part of the world are you joining us from. Let us know. Now, let's dive into today's story. The smoke from the grill rose in thin gray ribbons against the evening sky, carrying with it the familiar smell of charcoal and meat. Nathan Cole stood with tongs in hand, watching the burgers sizzle and pop, their edges darkening just the way Braden liked them. 15 years of Sunday dinners had taught him exactly how each member of his family preferred their food. Braden wanted char, Lila wanted the inside soft and pink, the outside barely touched by flame. The apron hung loose around Nathan's waist, stained from a summer's worth of grilling. He meant to wash it last week, but forgot. Small details like that had been slipping lately. Not because he didn't care, but because his mind wandered more than it used to. He'd find himself staring at the flames, thinking about nothing and everything at once. "Dad, how much longer?" Braden called from the porch steps. He sat with his phone in hand, thumbs moving rapidly across the screen. 12 years old and already glued to the thing. 5 minutes, Nathan said. "Go tell your sister to wash up." Braden didn't move. Nathan didn't repeat himself. The boy would come around when he smelled the food. The backyard stretched out behind Nathan, a quarter-acre of grass that needed mowing. The fence needed paint, too. Little jobs that piled up when you worked 50 hours a week. The lake was visible from here if you stood on the deck, just a sliver of blue between the neighboring houses. Lake Winnebago stretched for miles beyond their small shoreline town, massive and cold even in August. Nathan flipped the burgers one last time. The routine soothed him. Every Sunday, same time, same place. Predictability meant control. Control meant safety. He'd learned that young, growing up in a house where money vanished as fast as his father's promises. Nathan had sworn his own family would be different. Stable. Secure. The back door opened. Alyssa stepped out holding her phone, her thumb scrolling as she walked. She didn't look up. "Almost ready," Nathan said. Her voice carried the same distracted tone it had carried for weeks now. Maybe months. Nathan couldn't pinpoint when the shift had happened. It was gradual, like water eroding stone. One day, she was present. The next, she was somewhere else entirely, even when standing right beside him. "You want cheese on yours?" he asked. "Whatever." Nathan placed a slice of cheddar on her burger and watched it melt. Alyssa laughed softly at something on her phone, a small sound that didn't reach her eyes. She typed rapidly, then slipped the phone in her back pocket. "Who was that?" Nathan asked. He tried to keep his voice casual, but something in his chest tightened. "Just a friend." "Which friend?" Alyssa finally looked at him. Her expression was neutral, almost bored. "Does it matter?" It did matter. Nathan wanted to say that, but the words stuck in his throat. Instead, he transferred the burgers onto a plate and called for the kids. Dinner passed in near silence. Lila picked at her food, eating only the soft center of her burger and leaving the rest. Braden devoured his in 6 bites and asked for another. Alyssa pushed lettuce around her plate, her fork scraping against ceramic. "How was practice yesterday?" Nathan asked Braden. "Fine. Just fine. We won the scrimmage. Coach said I'm starting next week." "That's great, buddy." Nathan smiled. Braden didn't smile back. The boy's attention was already drifting toward the house, toward his phone charging on the kitchen counter. Nathan looked at Alyssa. She was staring at her own phone now, the screen reflecting in her eyes. Whatever she was reading made her lips curve slightly. "You good?" Nathan asked. Alyssa glanced up. "Just tired." She stood, gathering her plate, even though she'd barely eaten. "I'm going to take a bath." Nathan watched her disappear into the house. The door closed behind her with a soft click that felt louder than it should have. He sat alone at the patio table, the sky darkening to purple above him. Braden and Lila had already scattered, back to their screens and their rooms. The burgers sat half-eaten. The smoke from the grill had died to nothing. Nathan didn't push. He never pushed. He told himself it was patience, that whatever was bothering Alyssa would pass. Marriage had seasons, rough patches. You rode them out. But somewhere deep in his gut, In that place where instinct lived before thought, Nathan knew better. He just wasn't ready to admit it yet. The affair didn't announce itself with drama or revelation. It crept in quietly through the smallest openings. It started at Braden's baseball practice on a Tuesday evening. The field were packed with parents and folding chairs, watching boys in oversized uniforms swing at pitches. Nathan usually attended, but his supervisor had scheduled a last-minute meeting that ran long. By the time he made it to the field, practice was ending. He found Alyssa standing near the dugout, laughing at something another parent had said. The man was tall, late 30s, with an easy smile and hands shoved casually in his pockets. Nathan recognized him vaguely. Jack something. His son played third base. Sorry I'm late, Nathan said, approaching. Alyssa's laughter cut off mid-breath. Oh, hey. Jack extended his hand. Jack Hale. Don't think we've officially met. Nathan shook it. The grip was firm, but not aggressive. Nathan Cole. Your kid's got a hell of an arm, Jack said. Braden, right? Yeah, thanks. An awkward pause settled between them. Jack smiled at Alyssa. I'll catch you later about those tournament dates. Sure, Alyssa said. Jack walked away, and Nathan watched him go. Something about the exchange felt off, but he couldn't identify what. The way Alyssa's smile had vanished the moment Nathan appeared. The way Jack's goodbye had been directed at her, not him. Tournament dates? Nathan asked. Parents are organizing carpools for next month. Jack's coordinating it. That's nice of him. Alyssa gathered Braden's equipment bag. We should get going. Lila's with the neighbor. They drove home in silence. Nathan glanced at Alyssa twice, but her face was turned toward the window. Whatever thoughts occupied her mind stayed locked away. The text started that night. Nathan didn't know it then, but later he would reconstruct the timeline, piecing together the moments he'd missed. At first, the messages were practical. Scheduling. Logistics. Jack had just gone through a divorce and was struggling with custody arrangements for his own son. Alyssa offered advice, sympathy. She was good at that, Nathan thought. Good at listening. But sympathy turned into something else. The messages came later. After dinner. After the kids were in bed. Nathan would be in the living room reviewing budget spreadsheets for work, and Alyssa would be upstairs on her phone. Sometimes he'd hear her laugh, soft and private, the sound carrying down the hallway. What's so funny? He'd ask when she came down. Nothing. Just a meme. She never showed him. The shift accelerated over the next few weeks. Alyssa grew impatient with Nathan's routines. His need to plan, to organize, to budget. She criticized the way he grilled the same meals every Sunday, the way he tracked their expenses in a spreadsheet, the way he always locked the doors before bed. You act like everything will fall apart if you're not in control, she snapped one evening. Nathan had been organizing the garage, sorting tools by size and function. Alyssa stood in the doorway, arms crossed, watching him with something close to contempt. I'm just trying to keep things organized, Nathan said. You're obsessed. Obsessed with what? With this. She gestured vaguely at the garage, at him, at everything. With planning every detail. With thinking about money constantly. We're fine, Nathan. We don't need to live like we're broke. We're fine because I'm careful. No, we're suffocating because you're scared. The words hung between them like smoke. Nathan set down the wrench he'd been holding. His hands felt empty. I'm not scared, he said quietly. Yes, you are. Alyssa turned away. You've been scared your whole life. She left him standing there. Nathan didn't follow. He finished organizing the tools, each one in its proper place, his movements mechanical and precise. Later that night, lying in bed beside Alyssa, Nathan stared at the ceiling. She was turned away from him, her breathing steady. He wanted to reach out, to touch her shoulder, to ask what was really wrong. But his hand stayed at his side. He told himself it was just stress. Work, the kids, life. Everyone went through phases. But the knot in his chest tightened. The truth arrived on a Tuesday morning in October. Nathan woke early before sunrise. He had a meeting at 7 and needed to review his notes. Alyssa was still asleep, her body curled away from him beneath the blankets. He dressed quietly and went downstairs. The kitchen was dark and cold. Nathan started the coffee maker and waited for it to brew, watching the black liquid drip into the pot. Outside, the street was empty and gray. Alyssa's phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. Nathan glanced at it. The screen lit up with a notification. He looked away, but it buzzed again and again. He told himself it was probably the school. They'd been calling all week about updated vaccination records for Lila. He didn't want to miss anything important. Nathan picked up the phone. The screen showed 3 messages from a contact labeled simply J. J, last night was perfect. J, I can't stop thinking about you. J, I still feel you on me. Nathan sat down. His hands didn't shake. His breath didn't catch. He felt nothing at first, just a strange, empty coldness spreading through his chest like ice water. He opened the messages. The conversation went back weeks. Months, maybe. Nathan scrolled slowly, reading fragments that pieced together into something he couldn't unsee. I hate going home to him. He doesn't understand me anymore. You make me feel alive. The kids are exhausting. I need a break. When can we meet again? Nathan kept scrolling. There were photos. Nothing explicit, but enough. Alyssa smiling in ways Nathan hadn't seen in years. Jack's responses full of compliments, promises, plans. The coffee maker beeped. Nathan didn't move. He heard footsteps upstairs. Water running. Alyssa would be down in a few minutes. Nathan set the phone back on the counter, exactly where he'd found it. He poured himself coffee and stood by the window, watching the sunrise bleed orange across the horizon. When Alyssa came downstairs, Nathan was calm. He handed her the phone without a word. She took it confused. What? Then she saw the screen. Still open. Still showing Jack's messages. The color drained from her face. Nathan, don't. His voice was quiet. Flat. Don't lie to me. Alyssa opened her mouth, closed it. She looked at the phone, then at him. Something shifted in her expression, a decision made in real time. I didn't plan for it to happen, she said. Nathan waited. But I deserve to be happy. The words settled between them like stones dropping into still water. Nathan felt them land, felt the ripples spread outward. But he didn't react. He just nodded once, slowly. Okay, he said. Alyssa blinked. Okay. Yeah. Nathan set down his coffee cup. Okay. He walked past her, grabbed his keys from the hook by the door, and left for work. He didn't slam the door, didn't yell, didn't ask questions he already knew the answers to. That was the moment Nathan stopped being her husband. He just hadn't told her yet. Alyssa moved out 6 days later. Nathan came home from work on Monday to find her packing suitcases in the bedroom. She moved with purpose, pulling clothes from hangers and folding them with mechanical precision. She didn't look at him when he entered. I'm staying with a friend for a while, she said. Jack? She didn't answer. Didn't need to. What about the kids? Nathan asked. I'll see them on weekends. We'll figure out a schedule. Will we? Alyssa zipped the suitcase shut. I'm not abandoning them, Nathan. I just need space. Space from what? From this. From. She gestured vaguely around the room. From feeling trapped. Nathan leaned against the doorframe. His arms were crossed. His expression unreadable. You could have just talked to me. I tried. You never listened. No, you never spoke. Alyssa grabbed her suitcase and pushed past him. Nathan stepped aside, watching her descend the stairs. She paused at the bottom, one hand on the railing. The kids don't know yet, she said. I'll tell them tonight. Together. No. She turned. What? You'll tell them alone, Nathan said. I'm not helping you explain this. Nathan. They're in the living room. Go ahead. Alyssa's jaw tightened. For a moment, Nathan thought she might argue. But then she nodded and walked into the living room. Nathan stayed in the hallway, listening. Braden sat on the couch with a handheld game console, his focus absolute. Lila was on the floor with colored pencils, drawing something Nathan couldn't see from his angle. They both looked up when their mother entered. Hey guys, Alyssa said. Her voice was artificially bright. Can we talk for a minute? Braden paused his game. Lila set down her pencil. So, you know how sometimes adults need time to figure things out? Alyssa began. She sat on the edge of the coffee table, forcing a smile. Well, your dad and I are taking a little break. I'm going to stay somewhere else for a while. Silence. Lila looked at Braden. Braden looked at the floor. It's not because of anything you did, Alyssa continued. Sometimes grown-ups just need space. But I'll still see you all the time. Every weekend. And I'll call every day. Nothing's really changing. Where are you staying? Braden asked. His voice was flat, emotionless. With a friend? Which friend? Alyssa hesitated. Someone you don't know. Is it a guy? Braden. Is it? Alyssa's smile faltered. That's not. It's complicated, honey. Lila's eyes were filling with tears. She looked past her mother, searching for Nathan in the hallway. He stepped forward, visible now, and she scrambled up and ran to him. Nathan caught her, lifting her into his arms. She buried her face against his shoulder. It's okay, Nathan murmured. I've got you. Alyssa stood. Lila, sweetie, I'm not going far. You'll see me all the time. I promise. Lila didn't look at her. Braden stood too, stuffing his hands in his pockets. Can I go to my room? Don't you want to talk about this? Alyssa asked. Not really. He walked past both of them and disappeared upstairs. His door closed a moment later, the sound echoing through the house. Alyssa looked at Nathan. Her eyes were wet, but she didn't cry. This isn't how I wanted this to go. How did you want it to go? Nathan asked. Lila was still clinging to him, her small hands gripping his shirt. I don't know. Alyssa grabbed her suitcase. I'll call tomorrow. She left through the front door. Nathan heard her car start, heard the sound of tires on gravel. Then silence. He stood in the living room, holding Lila, feeling her breathe against him. Upstairs, he could hear music playing from Braden's room. Too loud. The boy's way of drowning out the world. Nathan carried Lila to the couch and sat with her. She didn't speak, didn't cry anymore. She just held on to him like he was the only solid thing left in a world that had suddenly become liquid and unstable. Dad, she whispered. Yes, sweetheart. Is Mom coming back? Nathan thought about lying, about offering false comfort. But Lila was 9, not stupid. She'd know. I don't think so, he said. Lila nodded against his chest. Okay. They sat like that for a long time, until the light outside faded to black. Jack's apartment was smaller than Alyssa expected. 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, a kitchen barely large enough for 2 people to stand in. The building sat near downtown, above a coffee shop that played jazz music until 10 every night. The walls were thin. Alyssa could hear the neighbors arguing through the drywall. It's temporary, Jack said when she arrived with her suitcases. I'm looking at houses. Just haven't found the right one yet. Alyssa set her bags down and looked around. The furniture was mismatched. IKEA shelves half-assembled. Dishes piled in the sink. The place smelled like takeout and old laundry. Where will the kids sleep when they visit? She asked. Jack frowned. The couch pulls out. Both of them on the couch? It's only a couple nights a week, Alyssa. They'll be fine. She wanted to argue, but swallowed it. This was supposed to be freedom. Space. A new beginning. Complaining on day 1 felt wrong. That first week passed in a blur. Jack worked erratic hours at his sales job, gone before she woke and home late. Alyssa spent her days job hunting online, applying to positions she was overqualified for. She'd worked part-time at a dentist's office before the kids were born, but 15 years out of the workforce meant her resume looked hollow. The bills came faster than she anticipated. Alyssa had handled the household finances before, but Nathan had always earned more. His steady paycheck covered the mortgage, the utilities, the groceries. She never thought about the math before. Now it loomed everywhere. Child support was supposed to start next month. Nathan had agreed without argument, but the amount was less than Alyssa expected. Her lawyer said it was fair based on their income split. But I have the kids half the time, Alyssa argued. Actually, the lawyer corrected, you have them every other weekend. That's not half. Alyssa sat in the coffee shop below the apartment, staring at her laptop screen. Job listings blurred together. Receptionist, administrative assistant, customer service representative. Nothing paid enough to cover rent and childcare and everything else. Her phone buzzed. Nathan's name appeared. Nathan, Lila has a dentist appointment Thursday at 3. Can you take her? Alyssa checked her calendar. She had a job interview at 2. It might run long. Alyssa, can you reschedule? Nathan, no. It's been on the calendar for 6 weeks. Alyssa's jaw tightened. She typed a response, deleted it, typed another. Alyssa, fine. I'll be there. She wasn't. The interview ran over, Then traffic jammed on the highway. By the time Alyssa pulled into the dentist parking lot, Nathan's truck was already there. She rushed inside and found him in the waiting room with Lila. "I'm so sorry," Alyssa said, breathless. "The interview ran late and—" "It's fine," Nathan said. His voice was neutral. He didn't look angry, didn't look anything. Just calm. "They already took her back. Is she okay?" "Just a cleaning." Alyssa sat down, feeling the receptionist's eyes on her. Nathan's posture was relaxed, legs crossed, a magazine in his hands. He looked like he belonged there, like he did this all the time, which Alyssa realized he probably did now. Lila emerged 20 minutes later with a new toothbrush and a sticker. She saw Nathan first and ran to him. Only after hugging him did she notice Alyssa. "Hey, baby," Alyssa said, smiling. "How'd it go?" "Good. No cavities." "That's great." They walked out together, the three of them, and Alyssa felt like a stranger in her own family. Nathan held Lila's hand. They moved in sync, comfortable and easy. Alyssa trailed behind, her purse heavy on her shoulder. "I can take her for ice cream," Alyssa offered. "She has homework," Nathan said. "Maybe next time." Alyssa watched them get into Nathan's truck and drive away. She stood alone in the parking lot, the autumn wind cold against her face. Her phone buzzed. Jack, dinner tonight? I'm exhausted from work." She typed back, "Sure." But standing there, watching her daughter disappear down the street without looking back, Alyssa felt something crack inside her chest. It wasn't regret. Not yet. But it was close. Nathan didn't fight. He documented. The first time Alyssa missed a weekend pickup, Nathan wrote it down. Date. Time. The excuse she gave via text. Feeling overwhelmed. "Can we reschedule?" The second time, he wrote that down too. By Christmas, he had a folder. Nathan adjusted his work schedule, negotiating with his supervisor to leave early 3 days a week. He mapped out the kids' activities on a shared calendar. Baseball practice, school events, doctor appointments. He sent Alyssa invitations to every entry. She attended half. Teachers stopped calling her. They called Nathan instead. When Braden forgot his lunch, they called Nathan. When Lila needed permission for a field trip, they called Nathan. Nathan was always there. Front row at the school play. Bleachers at baseball games. Parent-teacher conferences. He took notes, asked questions, followed up. People noticed. "Your husband is so involved," one of the other mothers said to Alyssa at a rare game she attended. The woman's tone was friendly, but Alyssa heard the subtext. "He's always been good with them," Alyssa said stiffly. "You're lucky." Alyssa didn't feel lucky. She felt replaced. Jack noticed her mood. "You're stressed," he said one night. They were lying in bed, the thin walls letting in the neighbor's television audio. "I'm fine." "You're not. You've been on your phone all night." The kids texted. "I'm just responding." Jack sighed. "They're fine, Alyssa. Nathan's got them. You don't need a helicopter parent from here." "I'm not helicoptering. I'm being a mother." "You're obsessing." Alyssa sat up. "They're my children, and they're with their father, who, for what you've told me, is handling everything fine." "That's not the point." "Then what is the point?" Alyssa didn't answer. She lay back down, staring at the ceiling. Jack rolled over, his back to her, and within minutes he was asleep. But Alyssa stayed awake, listening to the sound of someone else's life bleeding through the walls. The breaking point came in February. Lila had a school recital. A small production of a musical the third graders had been rehearsing for months. She played a villager with 2 lines. She practiced those lines every night for weeks, standing in front of Nathan's bathroom mirror, trying different voices. "Like this, Dad?" she'd ask. "Perfect," Nathan would say. "You're going to be amazing." The recital was on a Thursday evening. Nathan had marked it on the calendar. Sent Alyssa a reminder 2 weeks prior. Sent another reminder 3 days before. Alyssa confirmed. Said she'd be there. Nathan sat in the school auditorium, front row, exactly where he always sat. The chair beside him was empty. He checked his phone. 5 minutes until curtain. No messages. The lights dimmed. The kids filed onto stage. Lila scanned the audience, her eyes searching. Nathan waved. She saw him and smiled, but her eyes kept moving, looking for someone else. The play began. Lila delivered her lines perfectly. Her voice was clear, confident. Nathan recorded it on his phone, holding the device steady even as his jaw tightened. The play ended. The kids took their bows. Parents clapped. Nathan clapped loudest. Lila ran to him afterward, still in her costume. "Did you see me?" "Every second," Nathan said. "You were incredible." "Where's Mom?" Nathan's chest ached. "I don't know, sweetheart." Lila's face fell. She tried to hide it, tried to smile, but Nathan saw the disappointment settle into her eyes like sediment sinking in water. They walked to the parking lot together. Other families streamed past, kids clutching programs and parents taking photos. Nathan held Lila's hand, feeling her grip tighten. "She probably got stuck in traffic," Lila said quietly. "Probably," Nathan agreed, even though he knew better. They were halfway to the truck when Alyssa's car pulled into the lot. She parked crooked and jumped out, her face flushed. "Lila," she called, jogging over. "I'm so sorry, baby. Traffic was insane, and It's over," Lila said. Alyssa stopped. "What?" "The play. It's over." "Oh." Alyssa looked at Nathan, then back at Lila. "But you were amazing, right?" "I know you were. You weren't there." "I know, I'm sorry. But we can celebrate now. Ice cream? Or dinner?" Lila looked at Nathan. He nodded. "Go ahead. I'll see you at home." Lila climbed into Alyssa's car. Nathan watched them drive away, his hands shoved deep in his pockets. The parking lot emptied around him until he was standing alone under the yellow streetlights. He pulled out his phone and added another entry to his folder. February 15th. Missed Lila's recital. Arrived 35 minutes late. That night, after Alyssa brought Lila home, Nathan put the kids to bed. Braden first, then Lila. He sat on the edge of Lila's bed while she brushed her teeth in the bathroom. When she climbed under the covers, she looked at him. "Dad, yeah. Does Mom not love us anymore?" Nathan's heart cracked. He kept his voice steady. "She loves you. She's just figuring some things out. It doesn't feel like she loves us." Nathan didn't have an answer for that. He kissed her forehead and turned off the light. Later, in the kitchen, Nathan opened his laptop. He pulled up the folder he'd been maintaining and scrolled through it. Dates, times, missed pickups, late arrivals, forgotten obligations. A pattern. Braden appeared in the doorway, startling Nathan. The boy stood in his pajamas, his hair sticking up in the back. "Can't sleep?" Nathan asked. Braden shook his head. He walked to the table and sat across from his father. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then Braden said, "We don't feel safe at her place." Nathan looked up. "What do you mean?" "Jack's apartment. It's weird. He's nice, I guess, but it doesn't feel right. And Mom's different there. She's always stressed. And Lila cries at night." "Does she?" "Yeah. She tries to be quiet, but I hear her." Nathan closed the laptop. "You guys are safe with me. Always." "I know." Braden picked at his thumbnail. "I don't want to go there anymore." "Have you told your mom?" "She doesn't listen." Nathan thought about that. About Alyssa's new life, her new priorities. About how children always saw the truth first. "I'll handle it," Nathan said. Braden nodded and went back to bed. Nathan sat alone in the kitchen, the house silent around him. Outside, the night was cold and clear, the stars sharp against black. Nathan reopened the laptop and started typing. The custody hearing was scheduled for March. Alyssa expected it to be straightforward. 50-50. Standard. Both parents present and capable. The lawyer said most cases settled before trial, that judges preferred parents to work it out themselves. But Nathan didn't settle. He presented the folder. 3 months of documentation. Every missed pickup. Every late arrival. Every school event Alyssa had skipped. Every night the kids had called him crying from Jack's apartment. He didn't editorialize. Didn't exaggerate. Just facts. Dates. Times. Witness statements from teachers, neighbors, coaches. Alyssa sat at the table beside her lawyer, watching Nathan present evidence with the same calm precision he brought to everything. His voice never wavered. His hands didn't shake. He looked like a man stating simple truth. Her lawyer leaned over. "This is more extensive than I expected." "He's exaggerating," Alyssa whispered. "Is he?" Alyssa looked at the papers, the calendar entries, the phone logs. It was all there, undeniable and damning. Her lawyer asked for a recess. They stepped into the hallway, and Alyssa paced. "I didn't think he'd do this," she said. I thought we'd just talk like adults. He is talking like an adult, her lawyer said. He's using the system exactly as designed. So what do? We present your side. Explain the circumstances. Show you're capable. And if that doesn't work? The lawyer hesitated. Then we're looking at primary custody going to him. No. Alyssa's voice was sharp. That's not happening. But when they returned to the courtroom, the judge's expression was already set. The woman listened to Alyssa's explanations, the job search, the transition, the stress of starting over. She nodded politely. Then she ruled. Primary physical custody, Nathan Cole. Legal custody, joint, with Nathan holding decision-making authority on education and healthcare. Visitation for Alyssa, every other weekend. 1 evening per week. Holidays alternating. The gavel came down. Alyssa felt the sound in her bones. She looked at Nathan. He didn't smile, didn't gloat. He just gathered his papers, thanked his lawyer, and walked out of the courtroom. Alyssa sat frozen. Her lawyer touched her arm. I'm sorry. We can appeal, but given the documentation. I know. Alyssa stood on numb legs. She walked into the hallway and saw Nathan by the elevator, checking his phone. Nathan, wait. He looked up. His expression was neutral, unreadable. This isn't fair, Alyssa said. I'm their mother, and I'm their father. You planned this. You've been building a case against me for months. I've been documenting reality. You could have talked to me first. Nathan pocketed his phone. When? Between the times you forgot to pick them up, or the times you chose Jack over them? That's not. Alyssa's voice cracked. I was trying to find my footing. You were trying to have it both ways. New life, same kids. Doesn't work like that. The elevator dinged. Nathan stepped inside. Alyssa followed. They rode down in silence. The elevator was empty except for them, the small space suffocating. I didn't want this, Alyssa said quietly. Yeah, you did. You just thought it would cost less. The doors opened. Nathan walked out and didn't look back. Alyssa stood in the lobby, watching him push through the glass doors and into the parking lot. She felt something inside her collapse, something fundamental and structural. Not love. She'd lost that months ago. But identity, purpose, the image of herself as someone who mattered. Her phone buzzed. Jack, how'd it go? She didn't answer. Jack left 6 weeks later. It happened on a Sunday morning. Alyssa woke to find him packing a duffel bag in the bedroom, moving quietly like he didn't want to wake her. Except she was awake. What are you doing? She asked. Jack froze. I was going to leave a note. A note? He sat on the edge of the bed. This isn't working, Alyssa. What isn't working? Us. You're different now. Different how? Jack rubbed his face. You're stressed all the time. You're angry. You're not the person I met. Because my life fell apart. What did you expect? I expected you to adapt. Instead, you're stuck. Always on your phone with the kids. Always worried about Nathan. Always looking back. They're my children. And I'm your partner. Or I was supposed to be. Alyssa sat up. Her throat felt tight. So you're leaving because I'm a mother? I'm leaving because you're not present. You're a ghost living in this apartment, haunting a life you gave up. I didn't give anything up. It was taken from me. By who? Nathan. Jack zipped the duffel bag. He didn't take anything. You walked away. And now you're pissed that he's actually good at being a single dad. The words hit like a slap. Alyssa felt her face burn. Get out. I'm trying. Get out. Jack grabbed his bag and left. The door closed behind him, the sound final and absolute. Alyssa sat alone in the apartment. The walls felt thinner than ever. She could hear the coffee shop below, already buzzing with morning customers. Jazz music floated up through the floorboards. She looked around the space. Mismatched furniture. Unpacked boxes still stacked in the corner. A calendar on the wall with 2 weekends circled. The weekends she got her kids. Alyssa buried her face in her hands. She didn't cry. Couldn't. The tears were locked somewhere behind anger and shame and a hollowness so deep it felt like drowning. Her phone buzzed. Nathan. Lila has a school project due Wednesday. She wants to work on it with you today if you're available. Alyssa stared at the message. She typed, I'll pick her up at noon. Nathan. I'll let her know. She showered, dressed, and drove to Nathan's house. Her old house. The place she'd spent 15 years building before tearing it all down in a few short months. Nathan met her at the door. Lila was behind him, backpack already on. "I'll have her back by 6, Alyssa said. "7's fine," Nathan said. "Take your time." Lila climbed into Alyssa's car, and they drove to the library. They spread out at a table with poster board and markers, working on a report about ecosystems. Lila explained the assignment in detail, her enthusiasm genuine. "Dad helped me outline it," she said. "That's good. He's really good at helping with homework. He always was." They worked for 2 hours. Alyssa watched her daughter draw trees and label them, her handwriting small and precise. Lila looked like Nathan when she concentrated. Same furrowed brow, same careful attention. "Mom," Lila said without looking up. "Yeah. Are you happy?" The question caught Alyssa off guard. "What do you mean? Jack's gone, right? I heard Dad talking to Aunt Beth on the phone. He said Jack moved out." Alyssa set down her marker. "Yeah, he did. Are you sad?" "A little." Lila finally looked at her. "Do you wish you still lived with us?" Alyssa's throat closed. She wanted to lie, to protect her daughter from adult truths. But Lila's eyes were too knowing, too perceptive. Sometimes Alyssa admitted, "Why'd you leave?" "Because I was unhappy. With us." "No, with me." Lila nodded like she understood, even though Alyssa knew she couldn't. Not really. The girl was 9, but she was trying. They finished the project in silence. Alyssa drove Lila home and walked her to the door. Nathan answered, and Lila disappeared inside with her backpack. "Thanks for today," Nathan said. "She's my daughter." "I know." Alyssa looked past him into the house. The living room was clean, warm. The couch had new throw pillows, and she could smell something cooking in the kitchen. Life was happening here. Life without her. "Nathan, I've got dinner going," he said. "I should get back to it." He closed the door gently. Not slammed, just closed. Alyssa stood on the porch for a long moment before walking back to her car. The final conversation happened 3 months later. Alyssa called Nathan and asked to meet. Neutral ground. No lawyers. Just them. They chose a diner near the lake, the same place they used to go when they were dating. Back when life was simpler, when possibility stretched out like the water beyond the windows. Alyssa arrived first and ordered coffee. Nathan showed up 10 minutes later, punctual as always. He slid into the booth across from her. "Thanks for meeting me," Alyssa said. "What's this about?" Alyssa stirred her coffee. "I've been thinking a lot lately. About what happened. About what I did." Nathan waited. "I ruined everything," she said. Her voice was steady, but her eyes were wet. "I wasn't thinking. I was selfish. I hurt you and the kids for something that didn't even matter. It mattered to you. It shouldn't have." Nathan leaned back. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because I'm sorry. Because I want to know if there's a way back." "Back to what?" "To us. To our family." Nathan looked out the window at the lake. Boats drifted across the surface, small and distant. "There is no us anymore. But we have kids together. We're always going to be connected." Connected isn't the same as together. Alyssa's hands trembled around her coffee cup. "I know I don't deserve forgiveness. But I'm asking anyway." Nathan turned back to her. His eyes were calm, resolved. "You want absolution. I want a chance. Those aren't the same thing, either." "Nathan, please. I made a mistake. A terrible mistake. But people come back from this. Couples rebuild." "Some do," Nathan agreed. "But not us." "Why?" "Because forgiveness isn't the issue. Trust is. And you shattered that. Trust can be rebuilt. Not with me." Nathan's voice was quiet but absolute. "I don't forgive betrayal, Alyssa. I outgrow it." The words settled between them like a final verdict. Alyssa felt them land, felt the door close. "What does that mean?" she asked. "It means I'm not interested in going backward. I'm not interested in pretending we can fix what you broke. I moved on. You've moved on. Emotionally. Completely. You're the mother of my children, and I'll always respect that. But you're not my wife anymore. You're not my partner. You're just someone I used to know." Alyssa's face crumpled. Tears finally came, spilling down her cheeks. "I know I hurt you. I know I hurt the kids. But I'm still here. I'm still trying. You're trying now. You weren't trying when it mattered. So that's it. I made one mistake, and I'm punished forever." "It wasn't one mistake." Nathan's voice was even, factual. It was a series of choices, each one compounding the last. And the whole time, you thought you'd never pay for it. And now I am. Now you're dealing with reality. The same reality I dealt with when I found those messages. When I watched you leave. When I sat with our kids while they cried. Alyssa wiped her eyes. You're not even angry. No. Why not? Because anger means I still care. And I don't. The brutality of his honesty was worse than any shouting could have been. Alyssa felt it pierce through her, clean and final. I loved you, she said. Past tense. Yeah, I loved you too. Nathan stood. He pulled out his wallet and left cash on the table for the coffee. The kids are doing great, he said. They're happy, stable. That's all that matters now. He walked out of the diner. Alyssa watched him go, watched him climb into his truck and drive away without looking back. She sat alone in the booth for a long time, staring at the lake through the window. The water was gray and endless, moving in ways she couldn't control. Nathan's life didn't become perfect after the divorce finalized. It became honest. The house settled into new rhythms. Braden started high school and made the varsity baseball team. Lila joined the school choir and sang solos in holiday concerts. They fought sometimes the way siblings do, but they also laughed. Real laughter, the kind that filled empty spaces. Nathan still grilled on Sundays, but now the kids helped. Braden manned the tongs while Nathan prepped sides. Lila set the table and complained about her brother's taste in music. It wasn't the family Nathan had imagined building 15 years ago, but it was real, and it was theirs. Alyssa saw them every other weekend. She tried harder now, showing up on time, planning activities, listening when they talked. She'd moved into a better apartment, closer to their school. She'd found a job as an office manager. Steady pay. Benefits. The kids were polite with her. Affectionate, even. But there was a distance now, a careful boundary they'd learned to maintain. They loved her. Nathan made sure of that. But they trusted him. One Sunday in late autumn, Nathan was in the backyard raking leaves when Lila came outside and sat on the porch steps. She was 14 now, taller, her face losing its childhood roundness. Dad, she said. Yeah. Did you ever think about forgiving Mom? Like really forgiving her? Nathan stopped raking. He leaned on the handle, considering. I think about it sometimes. But you won't. It's not about won't. It's about can't. Some things change you. Change how you see people. Do you hate her? No, I just don't need her anymore. Lila nodded, processing. I think that's sadder than hating her. Maybe, but it's honest. They sat in silence for a while, the leaves rustling around them. Then Lila stood and grabbed another rake from the garage. They worked side by side, gathering the leaves into piles, the air cold and clean. Braden came home from practice and joined them without being asked. The three of them cleared the yard together, moving in comfortable synchronization. When they finished, Nathan ordered pizza, and they ate on the porch, watching the sun set over the lake. Alyssa texted later that night. A simple message. Hope you guys had a good day. Nathan replied, We did. Thanks. He set the phone aside and went back to watching a movie with the kids. Lila fell asleep on the couch, her head on Nathan's shoulder. Braden sprawled across the other end, half watching, half scrolling his phone. Nathan looked around the living room. At the photos on the wall, baseball games, choir concerts, camping trips. At the shoes piled by the door. At the homework scattered across the coffee table. This was his life now. Singular. Complete. Not what he'd planned, but what he'd built from the rubble. And somewhere across town, in a smaller apartment with secondhand furniture, Alyssa sat alone with her own thoughts. She'd learned, slowly and painfully, that freedom wasn't the same as happiness. That walking away didn't erase consequences. She saw her children. She talked to them. She tried. But she'd lost something irretrievable. Not Nathan's love, that had died quietly, without ceremony. She'd lost their story. The shared history they might have had. The future they would have built. That was her karma. Not rage. Not punishment. Just absence. The slow, steady weight of watching life continue without her at its center. Nathan didn't celebrate her pain. He didn't need to. He'd simply chosen a different path, one where the past stayed in the past and the present demanded his full attention. He refused to carry her regret, and that refusal That quiet, unshakable boundary was his freedom. The lake beyond the house was dark now, the water invisible except where moonlight caught the surface. Nathan stood on the porch after the kids went to bed, breathing in the cold October air. Tomorrow would be another Sunday, another dinner, another week of routines and small moments. He was ready for it, not because life was easy, but because it was his.